Executing assigned host duties flawlessly, zero mistakes, speaking fast because I got a lot to say. And I love hearing myself say it. And if you were me, you would too. To the phones we go. This is Sarah in Decatur, Illinois, the original home of the Chicago Bears, by the way. They were known then as the Decatur Staleys, named after the automobile dealership owner that sponsored a team for George Halas. How you doing, Sarah?
Hi, Raj. How are you today?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
I'm actually a third-time caller, and I'm still as nervous as I was the first time I called you. My son has all your books, and I'm just very honored that you took my call again, so thank you.
No, you're more than welcome. It's great to have you here. And I understand being nervous. I'd be nervous if I spoke to me, too. I never get to speak to myself because I never talk to myself. And I never get to listen to myself. It's something I've missed in life. You people get to do that, and I don't. So I understand being nervous, but you don't sound nervous. You sound fine and dandy, actually.
Well, thank you. And the reason I called is because I read an article this morning by Paul Krugman, the New York Times.
First mistake.
And it's called With All Due Disrespect.
Yeah.
And the whole article is about how patriotic and heroic and wonderful Representative John Lewis is because of what he said about Trump. I mean, this guy might as well just be painted as, a saint in this man's eyes. And then I remember back to when you said years ago after Obama got elected that you hoped he failed, and you were crucified for it. And the hypocrisy just boggles me. And I feel like, I voted for Trump because he spoke to me, and not at me. He understood, what I wanted. He talked to my values. And I feel like with articles like this and representatives like this, constantly putting it down and making people who don't like Trump heroic.
Right.
I mean, they're still not listening to me. They're still not listening to who voted for when they're going to continue to lose elections.
They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you. As far as they are concerned, you are a person. They look at you with contempt. They look down upon you. You're stupid. You're dumb. You were fooled by Trump and so forth. Paul Krugman has the distinction of being wrong about most everything he says. And it's incredible, which makes him perfectly qualified for the New York Times. But you're right. They're holding out Lewis as this great hero. I know. That's my whole point here. He's living off an event that happened to him 50 years ago. If you want some analogy, look, Ronald Reagan got shot. And they never, ever said that Reagan was great because he got shot. Ronald Reagan survived an assassination attempt, and they still hated his guts. John Lewis got beat upside the head. Ronald Reagan got shot. They never, ever treated Reagan as great and never allowed Reagan to be unquestioned on anything simply because he had been shot. John Lewis, free pass, whatever happened to him 50 years ago on the bridge now allows him to say and do anything he wants and be proclaimed an American hero at the same time. And there's a reason this happens, folks. It's deeply embedded in liberalism. And it is this that I'm going to explain in the monologue segment of the next hour with the help of a really timely piece from Shelby Steele. As I mentioned, I've been looking for a long time a way to explain this. I've really first encountered this in ways that made me start questioning this in sports. By listening to leftist sports writers deal with African-American athletes, and I thought, there's something, it was odd to me. And I finally figured it out. They feel sorry for him. They feel sorry for him because of what happened in the 1800s. And the way liberals look at at minorities, they're never going to get anywhere. Liberals think that minorities and the poor are forever destined to be minorities and poor, forever destined to be second class, third class, whatever, and they feel sorry for them. So anytime anything happens, it's really, really, really special. And but that doesn't really get close to describing or explaining it in full. That's a partial explanation for it. They feel sorry for John Lewis. They feel sorry for him because he's black. That's part of liberalism and its view of civil rights and minorities. And because they feel sorry, they have been deferential. And they've got so many strikes against them because of how unfair things have been that whatever they do is qualified, justified, and okay, and above and beyond criticism today. Anyway, Thanks for the call out there, Sarah. We have to take another obscene profit break. Back in a second.